What makes a game truly brutal? Is it the relentless enemies, the unforgiving mechanics, or that soul-crushing moment when you realize you've been stuck on the same boss for hours? Hey guys, I'm Buds, and today we're diving into 10 games so insanely difficult that only 5% of players ever conquered them. These aren't just tough, they're a badge of honor for those who manage to survive. Think you've got what it takes? Stick around, hit that like button if you've ever rage quit, and subscribe for more crazy gaming challenges. Now let's get into the madness. From Software has built its reputation on soul-crushing difficulty, but Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice isn't just hard, it's unforgiving. Unlike the Souls games where you can level up, farm better gear, or summon help, Sekiro throws you into pure skill-based combat with zero safety nets. The game revolves around parrying, forcing you to read enemy attacks with pixel-perfect timing, or else your posture breaks, leaving you wide open for a killing blow. And the bosses? They're merciless. Genichiro Ashina is an early game skill check that instantly weeds out the weak, while Ishin, the Sword Saint, is one of the hardest final bosses ever created. This guy has 4 phases, lightning-fast attacks, and barely gives you room to breathe. The moment you think you've won, boom! He switches styles and obliterates you in seconds. The satisfaction of mastering Sekiro's combat is next level, but the road there? Pure agony. No wonder only a small fraction of players ever rolled credits. Dying in a game is frustrating enough, but in Returnal, death isn't just a setback, it's a full reset. This roguelike bullet hell nightmare from Housemarque throws you onto an alien planet where everything wants to kill you. And trust me, it usually succeeds. No checkpoints, no manual saves, no mercy. Every biome is a procedurally generated death trap where enemies swarm you with projectiles in every direction, demanding split-second reflexes just to survive. And the bosses? They don't hold back. Nemesis bombards you with screen-filling bullet storms, while Hyperion's relentless attacks leave no room for error. But just when you finally think you've beaten the game, Returnal hits you with a hidden Act 3, making players replay the torment all over again under even tougher conditions. The only way out is absolute mastery, learning attack patterns, upgrading wisely, and somehow staying alive long enough to break the loop. Few have survived Celine's nightmare, but those who have, they earned it. At first glance, Cuphead might look like a harmless, cute throwback to 1930s cartoons, but underneath that innocent art style lies one of the most brutally difficult games of the last decade. This run-and-gun game is a masterclass in bullet hell chaos, where each boss is a fast-paced nightmare requiring perfect execution to survive. The thing is, Cuphead isn't about leveling up or farming. It's all about sharp reflexes, quick thinking, and mastering every attack pattern. From the moment you face off against the Root Pack to the nightmare that is King Dice, you'll quickly realize that even the simplest enemies will tear you apart if you make a single mistake. Every time you die, it's not just the frustration of failure, it's the realization that the bosses are only getting harder. The Devil Final Boss in particular will push your patience to its limits, forcing you to handle multiple forms while dodging an insane barrage of projectiles. And don't even get us started on the DLC bosses. They turn the difficulty up to 11, with even faster and more chaotic fights. If you manage to get through Cuphead with an S grade on all bosses, you've earned your place among the elite few who've conquered this punishing gem. If you thought Dark Souls was hard, Nioh 2 is here to make you rethink your entire life. The sequel to Nioh amplifies everything that made the first game brutal, adding new layers of complexity and unforgiving combat. The game is deeply rooted in Japanese mythology, and it throws you into a supernatural world where yokai monsters tear you apart if you're not careful. The key mechanic? The stance system. You'll constantly switch between high, medium, and low stances, adapting your style to each enemy's moves and weaknesses. Your ability to parry, dodge, and counterattack is pushed to the limit. No more spamming your way through fights. You need absolute precision or you'll be dead before you know it. Bosses like Shibata Katsui and Mizuki are nightmares that push your reflexes to unreal levels, requiring you to learn every attack pattern and maximize your key usage to stay alive. As if that wasn't enough, the yokai realm brings in even tougher enemies, leaving you vulnerable to quick stamina depletion. The game's difficulty is so high, many players can't even make it past the first few hours without getting absolutely wrecked. But once you master the combat and defeat the ruthless bosses, the sense of accomplishment is unparalleled, making Nioh 2 a must-play for hardcore gamers. Furi is a game where every encounter is a boss fight, and each one demands absolute precision and skill. This game is brutally hard, combining elements of bullet hell with melee combat in a fast-paced, relentless battle where dodging and countering are your only ways to survive. The whole experience is designed to make you feel like you're fighting for your life. The bosses are all incredibly unique, each with their own sets of attacks and phases that keep you on your toes. The challenge escalates with each encounter, pushing your reflexes to the limit. You don't just need to learn attack patterns, you need to react instantly and with perfect timing. One mistake, and you're done. The final boss? A true nightmare, a test of everything you've learned, throwing everything at you in a climactic, edge-of-your-seat fight. The feeling of triumph when you finally defeat these impossible odds is immensely rewarding, but don't expect it to be easy. Furi demands everything from you. If you've got the patience and willpower, Furi will reward you with an intense and unforgettable experience, but only a small group of players will conquer it.
Who are you really? Why are you here? Why are you doing this?
Hollow Knight is a Metroidvania that feels deceptively beautiful on the surface, with its charming art style and haunting soundtrack, but beneath that lies some of the most brutal and challenging combat ever designed. The game's bosses are tough enough on their own, but then you add the Pantheon of Hallownest, a 42-boss endurance gauntlet that will test your limits. You'll face bosses like Pure Vessel and Nightmare King Grim, each one with an ever-expanding arsenal of demonic attack patterns that require the utmost precision. The final challenge, Absolute Radiance, is a true test of endurance and skill, with so many attacks flying at you that it'll leave your hands sweaty and your nerves frayed. The difficulty doesn't come from unfair design, though. It's all about mastery. Every boss is a puzzle that needs to be solved with perfect dodges, precise attacks, and spot-on timing. There's no way to rush through Hollow Knight. You have to learn from each death, adapt, and come back stronger. If you make it to the end, you're not just a player, you're a meticulous, battle-hardened warrior who earned every single win. Dark Souls 3 is the ultimate test of patience, skill, and determination. From Software outdid itself with this one, faster, deadlier, and even more unforgiving than its predecessors. The combat is precise, punishing, and unforgiving, leaving little room for mistakes. The bosses, well, they're devastating. Take the Nameless King, for example. Not only does this two-phase fight have some of the fastest attacks in the series, but the King's lightning-infused moves can one-shot you in an instant. Even seasoned Souls fans are left shaking their heads, trying to figure out how to survive his lightning storms and aerial attacks. And then there's Slave Knight Gale, the final boss of the Ringed City DLC, whose relentless pursuit, multi-phase combat, and near-perfect AI make him one of the hardest bosses in gaming history. Every boss encounter is an endurance test, pushing players to perfect their timing, dodging, and attacking. It's a game that demands respect, punishing any sign of weakness. So if you make it to the end of Dark Souls 3 without rage quitting, you've earned a badge of honor. Only the most dedicated can say they've beaten the game, and that includes surviving the relentless difficulty of the DLC bosses too. The Witness is a brilliant yet maddening puzzle game that requires you to think in ways you've never imagined. The game opens with you on an isolated island filled with intricate puzzles that slowly increase in complexity. At first, the puzzles seem simple enough. Connect lines on panels. But as you progress, they start to intertwine in ways that demand logic, observation, and pattern recognition in ways that are completely unexpected. There are no tutorials or guides. You're forced to figure everything out on your own, often through trial and error. The game's beauty is in its sheer mental challenge. You'll have to rethink how you approach problems as you move between different areas of the island. But the real test? The final challenges. The Witness has an endgame sequence known as the Challenge, a brutally difficult gauntlet of puzzles that only a handful of players have managed to solve without resorting to guides. This section is so mentally exhausting that even the most seasoned puzzle enthusiast will feel their brains start to short-circuit. If you can get through the entire game without looking up a solution, you've truly earned your place among the elite puzzle solvers. The Witness isn't just a game, it's a test of your mind. In the cyberpunk world of Ghostrunner, speed is your only friend. But even that won't save you from the brutal challenge. In this first-person action platformer, every move requires precision, and one wrong step or misjudged jump means instant death. The game has you leaping from wall to wall, slashing enemies and dodging bullets at breakneck speeds, all while fighting off waves of deadly foes. But what makes this game unique is its unforgiving difficulty. Every enemy hit takes you down in a single blow, and while your attacks are just as lethal, you need perfect timing to avoid getting obliterated. Boss fights like the Pilgrim and the Guardian bring even more pain with crazy attack patterns and multiple phases that will leave you questioning your sanity. You'll fail, a lot, but every time you die, you'll understand a little more about the mechanics, the layout, and the enemies, and that's what makes the success so satisfying. Ghostrunner doesn't care about your patience. It tests your reflexes in ways that feel almost impossible, and for those who conquer it, there's a sense of triumph that few other games offer. If you think you're up for the challenge, prepare to experience one of the most hardcore parkour experiences ever. If you've heard about Elden Ring, you've heard of Malenia, Blade of Miquella, the final boss that has devoured the hopes of countless players. She's a living nightmare wrapped in elegance and brutality. But what makes her so deadly is her ability to heal with every hit, including her rapid sword attacks that can obliterate you in seconds. Even the most experienced players are left with their jaws on the floor, trying to figure out how to survive her relentless assault. Her first phase feels like a test in dodging and perfect timing, where she won't hesitate to punish any mistake. But then, just when you think you've got the hang of it, she transforms. Her second phase? It's a complete nightmare. Malenia's speed increases, her attacks become harder to avoid, and she summons deadly waterfowl attacks that will catch even the most seasoned Elden Ring veterans off guard. The worst part? You can't rely on summons or items in a solo fight to handle the heat, so it's just you versus one of the deadliest fights ever created. Beating Malenia isn't just a victory, it's proof of your gaming skill and patience. And there you have it. 10 brutally hard games that only 5% of players ever beat. Which one gave you the worst nightmares? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this challenge-packed list, hit that like button, subscribe for more insane gaming content, and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.